Cells at Work delivers its very best episode, one which is all about a cancer cell going through a violent existential crisis. Greetings, my friends. It's time to talk about another super educational episode of Hataraku Saibo, otherwise known as Cells at Work. And this is the second part of a two-part episode, which is all about the invasion of a cancer cell, which immediately already makes it one of the most dangerous things that we've actually seen from the series thus far. Now, due to the fact that Cells at Work likes to personify its characters and give them human-like qualities, I honestly didn't expect to feel any sort of sympathy for the cancer cell. Just hearing it out loud, you immediately think, this thing's the bad guy, this thing's the villain. In Cells at Work, it's actually something that questions its own existence and demands that it has the right to live just as any other cell. The problem is, cancer cells destroy everything in their wake. They're super violent. They absorb and destroy everything and try to make it their own. They are quite literally a virus which must be stopped. But the cancer cell that we see in this episode is one that is surprisingly sympathetic. And that was something that I did not expect to see from this series. That being said, this entire episode was mostly a giant action scene of watching the white blood cell, the killer T cell, and the brand new and super awesome NK cell battle against cancer. And it was crazy and over the top in exactly the best ways possible. This entire episode kind of reminded me of the scene from Akira where Tetsuo is losing control of the power within his body and he's slowly bloating and transforming into a massive Cronenberg creature of nastiness. That's basically how the cancer cell actually attacks people, by enlarging parts of its body, growing extra limbs. Essentially, it just smothers everything with its destructive body. And the overall design of the cancer cell is absolutely horrifying. The detail in the face with the veins exploding from its cheeks, the different colored eyes, the way that its arms sort of rip apart as they're transforming. But this episode basically shows what happens when your body tries to fight back against cancer, using all of its virus and bacteria destroying cells coming together and utilizing their special abilities. I also learned apparently that the NK cells are powered by laughter and that makes them super powerful, which is strange, but it actually ends up giving them the edge in this battle. Like I said though, most of the episode focuses on the cancer cell that's going through an existential crisis, questioning why can't it live? Why doesn't it have the right to live just as any of these other cells? But it destroys everything that it touches. We also get to learn a little bit about how they proliferate in secret, sort of slowly taking over the body. They even give a backstory to the cancer cell, where it was actually divided into two, and it essentially had a cancer cell brother, and they were running away from the killer T cells when suddenly his brother is captured and killed right in front of him, beginning his path to vengeance, so to speak. What's great about this episode is getting to see all of the characters we've been introduced to thus far actually come together at the end of the episode. Everybody has a really great standout moment. I particularly love when Macrophage appeared, throwing her massive hatchet right into the frickin' shoulder blade of the cancer cell. Just really, this episode just runs the gamut on the crazy action here. And again, it just shows why all of the different parts of your body are so essential to actually protecting you. And it was all thanks to Red Blood Cell, actually, at the end of the day. She was the one who was wholly responsible for gathering everyone together. And again, it's funny, this is still supposed to just be a personification of the things that happen in your body, but there's still this little story arc going on where apparently Red and White Blood Cell are falling in love with one another. Maybe more so for Red. White's just basically kind of doing his job. But again, his, denseness to all of this is again played for laughs in this episode. But again, what I like about this one too is that we could be seeing the return of the cancer cells. It is hinted at after he is killed by the white blood cell that he could possibly return. Even white blood cell knows that this is a possibility. So we could be planting the seeds for some more crazy storylines later. What I will say is, man, whoever's body this is going through all sorts of really bad shit. So what's the rundown on this episode of Cells at Work? This is definitely my favorite episode of the series thus far. I'm a little biased in that it was mostly action-packed, but it was just really fun to see that. And the overall design of the cancer cell, I can't speak enough for how really inventive it really was. I talked about how in the last episode it kind of reminds me of like a mutation from the Resident Evil series that's made even more evident in this episode right here, the way that they actually tried to portray it and the absolute destruction that it caused. But again, it was was still a very educational episode. You know, I learned so much more about how the body actually fights back in these situations and how the cancer cells sort of take over by tricking the body into actually allowing it to propagate, by allowing nutrients to come in and allow it to just keep growing and growing until the body actually can't fight back anymore. It's not until they properly are all in the right place at the right time can they actually have the opportunity to fight back against these things. That combined with the overall art style of the action scenes and even some of the funnier moments between NK Cell and Killer T Cell, who start to work together a little bit until she ends up getting him splashed by antibodies, which is mostly played for laughs. But again, yeah, it's just the way that they personify these things, and they made me feel bad for cancer, which is really weird and kind of fucked up to say, to be perfectly honest, now that I'm saying it out loud. But it's something that needs to be eliminated from the body. The white blood cell knows this, and he shows no sympathy to the cancer cell. In fact, they even try to play it up for laughs when it's all done when they show his dead body. They just put those stereotypical cartoon X's there. So let's just wrap this one up, shall we? This was a really tense and action-packed episode of the series, which again did a really great job of educating you and tricking you into actually educating you while you're watching a really crazy anime series. The promise of seeing the cancer cell return could lead to an even bigger story arc later as the series goes on, but for what it is right now, I'm just taking Cells at Work as like the coolest educational anime that I have ever seen. It's got style, it's got grace, it's just a really great show. I'm giving this one right here a 5 out of 5. I'd love to hear from you guys. If any of you did watch the episode, tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching this review. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down, baby.